take it personally. I think you'd be better with somebody like me.
My name is James McVey. I play guitar in a band called the Vamps, and this is my chat with Spindle Magazine.
Personally, I think you'd be better with somebody like me, but worst of all, you don't.
I think if I could give myself, a younger version of myself, advice on state of mind, on life in general, I think it would be to embrace the moment and be willing to accept emotion and recognize that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. I think there's a general consensus that like being in a band is incredibly awesome all the time, and it's amazing. Like it's definitely it's the dream. Like it's the dream job. But I think I've personally felt a few moments where it's been difficult, because going from immediate highs and incredible positivity on stage and touring and having, you know, like top 3 songs and selling loads of albums, and then going to a hotel room and sitting on your own and being on your laptop. You know, that contrast is really strange. It's like having like the biggest like adrenaline rush, the biggest like hit of coffee, and then being like nothing. And that's really weird to deal with. And I think that, in conjunction with me having some wrist problems and not being able to play guitar for quite a few months, it kind of put me in a strange place that I didn't really understand. I felt on edge, and as though I wasn't really contributing to the band, because I couldn't write any songs because I couldn't play guitar. I was in a weird position that I'd never been before. Like, I was very lucky that for our first album, we, you know, in the Vamps we write, and that's what we do. But in the first album I was very much involved. There were songs that I had written when I was 14 that were on that album. But then for the second album of the Vamps, because I couldn't play guitar, I really felt that I wasn't contributing as much as I wanted. I didn't feel a part of the album, and that kind of, initially that meant that once the album was out and we were touring the songs, I didn't have that personal connection with the songs. Like, I really liked the songs, and I thought the other boys did a great job, but when I personally wasn't emotionally invested in the songs, I felt myself kind of drifting away from the band, and there was nothing that the boys did was a reason for that. I just myself was in a difficult place, and I felt a pressure to not be vocal about that. I think that growing up, there's a notion of specifically men being quite withdrawn from emotion, being quite restrained, being quite submissive, and kind of, yeah, suppressing their feelings inside, making sure that they look as if, you know, they're great and it doesn't matter and everything's cool and they can man up. And I think for me it was really difficult to try and follow that stereotype, to be the person that everything was great and it was all smiles, and when the cameras were there it was awesome. But what people don't realize is it's not all that. It's not all perfect, but that's not a bad thing. I wish that I could tell myself back then that it's absolutely normal to feel, you know, negative about things, and then if I'd done that, then I'd be able to speak about it. You know, eventually I was very lucky. I was at breaking point with the band where I was close to walking away, and eventually I found the strength to open up to people around me, like loved ones and Brad especially, and that action of speaking really helped me. It kind of shared the burden, and as soon as I started speaking, things began to make sense in my head. It was like I was putting together a puzzle in my head that had been like broken for so long. So yeah, I'd say to a younger version of myself, just embrace who you are. Don't try and be someone that you're not, whether it's musically or personally or whatever, and recognize the importance of being emotional, because emotionless is not something that's human or real. How have I developed as a musician from when we started? When we started making music, Brad and I, our favourite band was the Kooks, also like Mumford & Sons. There was a big folk vibe going on. So I was very acoustic driven. I listened to Irish folk, Damien Rice, etc. And then with the change of genre over the years, you know, you've had people like Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber coming along, the Chainsmokers changing everything. I think that musically I've been listening to a lot of different stuff. and therefore I've learned about, I guess, like synth. Never even heard synth before. So I think as a songwriter things have changed, but also growing up as a person, you know, we were like 17, 18 at the start of the band, and now we're all in our 20s. So I think the experience of traveling the world and having like relationships with famous people, having friendships with famous people, and then with normal people too, and it's like this weird like merging of life where, you know, I grew up in Dorset, so I go from Dorset and then I'd go out for a meal with a girl that I was dating that was an actress, and then I go back to my little village, and it would be like, it was such a strange thing. And I think that doing things like that definitely build you as a person. I think we had to grow up very fast in the band, and we absolutely loved it. But I think the development has both been musical but also personal. I think we've all gone through a lot together, and hopefully that's made us a tighter band and a better unit. What does the future hold? I think it's crazy because it doesn't seem like 5 minutes since we had started and I first saw that video of Brad on YouTube, and that was 6 years ago this year. I think the future, well, I hope the future holds more music for us. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is we're constantly writing songs, and I think for us music is an obsession and love. So it's not something that we can switch off. It's not like, you know, we can't just like disconnect from music. It's always happening. So luckily that means that we're always writing songs. So I'd love the future of the Vamps to be consistent songwriting. It'd be great to still be able to tour around the world. And I guess just continuing to have an open conversation with our fans. It's really important that we keep up that like rapport between us and our fans, because ultimately the Vamps started from fans getting involved at a really early age, like a grassroots level, and telling their friends about us, and then it develops. And I think it's really important for bands to maintain that contact with their fans, to know how they're feeling, and to make sure that they are, yes, like experimenting and developing for themselves, but also making sure that they're not isolating or forgetting their fans. So I'd love for us to have, yeah, synergy with our fans.
Personally, I think you'd be better with somebody like